When mixing a song, what's the best order to do things in? I'm about to share my process for mixing a song and the best order to approach the various elements of producing a finished mix. Hi, Shem Sharples here, singer-songwriter, independent musician and producer. If you've been following along with this series, recording Jackdaw Alien, we've gone from building the track from scratch up to getting all the recording done, vocals, guitars, everything. And now it's the turn of the mixing. So let's take a deep dive into the mixing process. Let's go into my DAW now, which is Pro Tools, and have a look inside. Right, here's our project. You can see all the instruments there, all the individual tracks lined up. Now the first thing we need to do is to trim all the unwanted necessary bits. I could trim this, but I know these are silent, so there's no issues there with those. But with things you've recorded live, like vocals, say this backing vocal here, for example, has got this bit here, which is probably me mumbling something or coughing or something like that. So it's best to remove that so we don't have any unwanted noises and things cluttering up the mix. So more focused, cleaner sound in the mix, so it creates space there. So the first thing is to clean up everything and fix any timing issues with things. Well, what I've done is I've color coded each track. So these are drum tracks, so which I've color coded yellow. These are cymbals, which are also yellow, all percussion yellow. The bass guitar red, the guitars kind of green, electric guitars more turquoise. This is the piano. The vocals are orange and the backing vocals are reddy browny colours. So they're all, I can see instantly that this is the bass, for example, and here's where the drums are, and these are the vocals and the guitars. Then what I've got is I've taken these drum heads and separated them from the cymbals and created a group track for them, drum heads, and sent these individual drums to the drumhead group. So I have those separate from the cymbals, which is sent to a cymbals track. These are both fed into a drums mix, and I also have some parallel compression and saturation and a drum reverb as well. Now the drum saturation and the cymbals and the heads all go into the overall drum kit sound, which I've got here. So that's a group that contains other groups. The bass has its own group. The guitars have their own group, electric guitar group, and the overall guitar group. The lead vocal has its own group with doubles and some parallel compression. Backing vocals all have their own group, and these are reverbs and delays, sort of echoes and reverbs. So I've organised them like that. Then the next thing that we need to do, the first thing in the actual mix, is setting what we call a dry mix or a static mix, where you don't apply any effects just yet and just set the levels where they seem to fit. And so that it sounds good, you want the overall levels peaking at about -6 dB. That's what you're aiming for everything in the master bus. So adjust all the levels till they sound optimal. They won't be perfect because things will need readjusting in various parts of the song and things like that, but an overall level. Then address any panning. So the kick drum or the bass drum will be dead center, the snare drum dead center, the bass guitar is dead center, and the lead vocal dead center, and everything else can fit either side of that, slightly to the left or to the right in the stereo field. When you go through the song, it all balances well, so there's something over on the left will be balanced with something on the right. once we've done that, it's time to apply some EQ now, particularly high pass filters, should I say, scooping out, see this 33 hertz. This is the kick drum as well, the bass drum. I'm just eliminating all the sub frequencies, because any rumble or unwanted noise in the sub bass range, which I can't detect through these speakers because they're fairly small ones, so they just won't be heard. But if there's any noise there, like rumbles and things, they will affect the compressors later on and affect everything else, the way it's processed. So it's best to remove it. There's those. So do that with various things. The basses, I've got two bass signals. I've got a direct input and there's a bass amp input, which I've separated. So the bass has a high pass filter operating at 70 hertz to allow space for the kick drum to come in below it, and with the DI I'm taking it down at 220 hertz, and then the bass amp I'm dropping everything below 220 and just having this for the mid-range. So I'm processing the low frequencies separately with the DI and processing the mid-range separately with the bass amp. So it's a good way of working. So you get a group channel which has them both going into it. Now with the guitars, you scoop out, I like to get rid of everything below around about 200 hertz, sometimes more, depending on what the purpose of the instrument is. 222 hertz there for that one. Now with these, there's some sound shaping going on with the electric guitars, because there's quite a few electric guitars, and all the guitars playing together would create kind of a jangle that you can't hear individual things in. It's kind of an incoherent mess, really. So it's what we do in EQ is find the sweet spot. And this one, it's around about 1200 hertz, and have that slightly boosted. And another instrument, another guitar, might be sweet at 800 hertz. So the other one might be boosted at 800 hertz and scooped down at the 1200 hertz. So one is operating at 800 and the other's at 1200, and reducing the opposite one. So each has its own place in this frequency range. So they all have, they've carved out their own little niche in the frequency spectrum, if you like. So it creates clarity and focus on them. Lead vocal, scoop out around about 90 hertz roundabout, and dip various frequencies that don't sound so good, just to make it all sound as sweet as possible. And backing vocals, you do a similar thing. Okay, once we've got the EQ down, it's time to do some compression. Now compressors, oh, that's an EQ. Compressors, here's a lead vocal, for example. Expand that so you can see. Now we've got some very loud parts like this peak here, and some much quieter parts like this bit just in here, and this bit here is obviously louder than this bit here. So, and this bit here is very loud, and this bit here is very quiet. What a compressor does is squash down the big peaks and brings them down to here, and then we increase the level so that it has the effect of the quieter moments in the vocal get louder, and the louder parts get quieter. So it evens out the performance, so it sits better in the mix, and things aren't poking out here and then disappearing over here and it being all over the place. It just makes it more consistent and works better in the overall mix. So that's the purpose of compression. And it's time to add some reverbs and delays. So we have our reverb channels over here, and we have send effects here, so we can adjust the level of these. Let me play a part of the song. So just see what happens when I increase this level. It will boost the reverb, and I'll exaggerate it so you can, so just to demonstrate, but I'll put it back afterwards. But just have a listen. As you can see, the reverb got mighty swamped at one point there. So that's reverb sends and things. So you wouldn't want to say put reverb on everything, but otherwise you end up with a big swampy reverby wash of spaciousness with no detail in the mix. So, but a little bit of reverb on various things makes things sound a lot sweeter and nicer and more pleasant to the ear, and adds interest, and also helps things recess into the mix. It has the effect of bringing things forward and back in the mix to some degree. Once we have reverbs and delays dialed in, it's time to do some automation. Now, I haven't really automated that much on this so far, but there's a part here where I've got an automation going. So there's a part of the song here. I'll just remove that for a minute. We have a part of the song here. With time slipping through my hands, I never saw a soul around. I felt my body buried, my head poking out the ground, and every time the sun came up I cursed the Lord for turning round and round. Now you can hear now in the chorus bit here and here, although you can hear the lead vocal, it's in danger of getting a bit lost in the mix. So what we can do is create two white points there and select that and just increase that level a little bit in the lead vocal. I'll exaggerate it to demonstrate what it does, and when it comes to this part, the vocal will be increased. With time slipping through my hands, I never saw a soul around. I felt my body buried, my head poking out the ground, and every time the sun came up I cursed the Lord for turning round and round. And every time the sun came up I cursed. As you can see, the vocal increased when it reaches this bit, and it goes back to normal again there. I'll get rid of that again for now. But what I haven't done the automation yet, so I will go through all the instruments, the vocals and everything, and make sure everything's sitting nice at every part of the song, and automate little bits and pieces like that throughout the entire duration of the song, and it takes a lot of detailed work. Also, you can automate effects. So, for example, there's a delay here. Let me just disable that there. And a long reverb here. If we go into this part of the song here, where the bridge is, and listen out to sea and see what happens to these two levels. There's automation gone on, which is done by writing and operating these, but I'll just play it, and these levels, these sends will increase. As you can see, they went up and down, not very smooth action, but they went up in the appropriate place for them. So you just automate all that, and it saves you having to do it manually each time you play through the song. So you wouldn't want to do that. But so a lot of automation still to be done on this, and that's the next job that I've got for myself. Now there's some very nice plugins. There's some reverb, Reverb by Waves, which is a very good one. There's that one, and there's another one there, different plugins. Now the Waves ones are very good, Reverb, and there's some EQs, the REQ, very good plugins from Waves. And if you're interested, there's some of the best plugins on the market and they work on any DAW, so I thoroughly recommend you checking out Waves plugins, because they do some amazing ones, some great compressors and all kinds of things. So if you're interested in looking for those, I'll leave a link for Waves in the description below. But yeah, where we are with this mix is we're ready to do some automation. Basically everything's sounding reasonably sweet to me, generally speaking. I hope you enjoyed that deep dive into the mixing process, the order of things, and some details about the various aspects of the mix. As I say, there's some automation that I still need to address, but I didn't have time to do that yet while I was making this video. But for the sake of demonstration, I'll play a short clip of the song anyway, which I think sounds reasonably sweet. But as I say, there's some little tweaks with EQ and level adjustments which will be addressed in the automation process. So enjoy this clip anyway for now.
I took a walk into a field to get away from all the pressure hammering my head. I took a lungful of fresh air. A cloud of parasites all flew out of my hair. I had a chance to breathe, oh yes, I had a chance to just sit down and dream. I had a chance to breathe, oh yes, I had a chance to just sit down and dream.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that little clip of Jackdaw Alien. It's been a fun series for me, recording this song from scratch and building it up and even getting into the mixing process. I need to finish the song, sweeten it up and do the final adjustments. I'll release this song as a single sometime soon, as soon as I've finished it. So look out for that. Now, if you have any questions about anything whatsoever, leave it in the comments below this video. And for any DIY musicians out there, if you want help with any of your mixing, reach out, and I'll leave a link in the description below where you can ask your questions and see how I can help you. And as a reminder, if you're interested in Waves plugins, they have some amazing plugins. There's also a link in the description to explore those as well. Well, that's all I have for you now. Take care, have a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.